Hello, today we'll be doing question number 14. So in question number 14 it has been said that we need to consider the following functions which has been defined in interval 0 to 1, two real numbers. Now which of these following functions attain their maximum value in the interval 0 to 1? So the various functions that are given are fx is equal to 1 by x into 1 minus x. Second is g of x is equal to minus of x minus 0.75 whole square. U of x is equal to sine of pi by 2x, and v of x is equal to x square plus twice x. So we have to check out all these functions. Let us start off with the first function, which is f of x. Now it has been given that f of x is equal to 1 by x into 1 minus x. So if we now find out, we can do it like x minus x square into f of x is equal to 1. Now if we differentiate it, we get 1 minus twice x into f of x plus x minus x square into f dash x, and this is equal to 0. And this implies that f dash of x is equal to twice x minus 1 into f of x divided by x into 1 minus x. Okay, now we know that f of x is equal to 1. F of x is equal to 1 by x into 1 minus x. So if we multiply it, so we get twice x minus 1 into x into 1 minus x whole square. Now if for maximum and minimum, f dash x should be equal to 0. For maximum or minimum, f dash of x is equal to 0. So that implies that since the denominator part cannot be equal to 0, since we have been given that x belongs to the open interval 0 to 1, so it neither can be 0 nor 1. So this part is always positive. It is never equal to 0, and the denominator part is always positive. Now we are concerned only with the numerator, so that implies that twice x minus 1 should be equal to 0, and that will imply that x is equal to 1 by 2. Now x is equal to 1 by 2, basically 0.5. This belongs to the open interval 0 to 1. So there is a probability that this can be either a maximum or can be a minimum. Now for that we need to find out f double dash x. So now f double dash x is basically, we have to find out f double dash x, or we can do one more thing. We can find f double dash x in the usual method, or we can do one more thing. If we try to consider, so let us draw a number line over here, and this is 0 and this is 1. Now if at the point, and this is the point, x equal to 1 by 2. Now if at the point x equal to 1 by 2, f of x is equal to fx is maximum. So suppose it is somewhere over here. If fx is minimum, the curve will look somewhat like this. Okay, so that means that if x is less than 1 by 2, the slope of the tangent at any point will be upward sloping, and the slope of the tangent at any point after x is equal to 1 by 2, here it will be downward sloping. Okay, so basically we can say that if x is less than 1 by 2, then f dash x will be positive, and if f dash x is negative when x is greater than 1 by 2, then we can say that f of x is maximum at the point 1 by 2. The opposite case is applicable when we have a minimum at x equal to 1 by 2. So that implies if we have for x less than 1 by 2, if we have the f dash x is negative, so that means the downward sloping slope over here, and then we have and for x greater than 1 by 2, we have a upward sloping slope. So in this case we have a minimum at the point f of x equal to 1 by 2. So this is what we will try to check over here. So now let us find out, if since we need to consider a value which is less than 1 by 2 and greater than 0, so we will take x is equal to 1 by 3. Okay, 1 by 3 is basically 0.33. 0.33 is obviously less than 0.5. So let us find out f dash of 1 by 3. Now f dash of 1 by 3, since we have already found out f dash x, this will be 2 by 3 minus of 1 into, this portion is always positive as we already know. Now 2 by 3 minus 1, this is basically we are getting that this will be a negative number. So for this is a negative number over here. Okay, f dash of 1 by 3 is negative. So we have a downward sloping tangent. Let us find out for f dash 2 by 3. 2 by 3 is greater than 1 by 2. So this will be equal to 4 by 3 minus 1, and as we know the denominator is a square number, so that will always be positive. Now 4 by 3 minus 1 will be equal to 1 by 3, which is again positive by positive. This will be again a positive number. So as you can see, it looks somewhat like this. It is negative at 1 by 2, it is 0, and then again like this. So as you can see over here, this will basically mean that it is a minimum over at the point 1 by 2, which is in the point between the points, so 0 and 1. Okay, so this is how we found out the maximum minimum over here. So as you can see, for the first option there is no maximum. There is no maximum over here, so option A is incorrect. Now let us consider the second function. The second function is g of x is equal to minus of x minus 0.75 whole square. So if we find out g dash x, so g dash x will be minus of 2 into x minus 0.75. Now for maximum or minimum, g dash x must be equal to 0. So that implies that minus of 2 into x minus 0.75 must be equal to 0. So that means that x minus 0.75 will be equal to 0, and that will ultimately lead that x will be equal to 0.75. And this belongs to the open interval 0 and 1. Okay, now we need to find out g double dash x. So g double dash x will be equal to minus of 2. So as you can see, this is less than 0, negative. So if g double dash x is less than 0 at a particular point, since we have 0.75 over here, so that means that we have a minimum at that point. So option B is correct. Okay, now let us go to option C. So option C has been given that u of x is equal to sine of pi x by 2. Okay, so now if you find out u dash x, so u dash x will be pi by 2 cos of pi by 2 x. Now for maximum and minimum, u dash x is equal to 0. So that implies that cos of pi by 2 x is equal to 0. So if cos of pi by 2 is x is equal to 0, so that means that pi by 2 x is equal to pi by 2. Cos of x is equal to 0. So if cos of x is equal to 0, that means, okay, yes. So that means that x is equal to 1. Okay, x is equal to 1. Now x cannot be equal to 1 in this case. Now if x is equal to 1, so this does not belong to the open interval 0 to 1. So we are not considering this interval over here.
Multi-email forward lets you forward multiple emails at once. Start by selecting.
So thereby we will not proceed with these options. Option C is also neglected. Now we go to the last option, which is option D. Here it has been given that the function Vx is equal to x square plus twice x. Okay, x square plus twice x. So now v dash x is equal to twice of x plus 2. And for maximum and minimum, this will be equal to 0. So that implies that x is equal to minus of 1, which again does not belong to the open interval 0, 1. Okay, so therefore option D is also neglected. Also wrong. So the only correct option over here is option B, where we have been given that g of x is equal to minus of x into 0.75 whole square. So this is the correct option, option P. So this is how you solve question number 14 from the CMI data science paper of 2018. We'll be solving the next questions in the subsequent videos. Thank you very much.